Okay, we're giving it to them all Wednesday. Busy week. Brooke, congratulations on your win. It was fantastic. I'm sure Dakota didn't catch it, but Uncle Lukey did. Good stoppage win. Introduce yourself to these fine folks that choose to be with us on a rainy California day.
Of course, I am Mighty Brook Sibrian. I train out of Lee Espinoza Coachella Valley Boxing Gym, and I am currently 2-0 with 1 KO.
Okay. Talk to me about how you got into the sport of boxing because I saw a number that stood out to me 3.5 years experience. It's not a lot, especially turning into a pro fighter. So, talk me through that journey of just getting to the gym and where you're at now.
Of course, I started in fitness boxing classes out in New York. I was living there at the time. I worked full time for the Wall Street Journal, so that's kind of like my second life. And I started there. I loved it so much. Those classes are predominantly women, female based. So fun, obviously, great workout. And so that was my introduction to boxing of any type. Growing up, I was in love with soccer. The fitness boxing classes were great. And then when I moved back home, which is California, LA, I ended up saying, you know what, I want to learn a little bit more technique, obviously, learn how to spar. So I joined a gym in San Fernando called 818 Boxing. And that's where there were active fighters, pro and amateur. And so once I started there, I met my now fiance, Mega. And that's where my training, my competitive training started. I sparred for the first time there. And then about a year later, we moved to Coachella Valley. We became residents of Palm Desert November of 2020, where I started training out of the Lee Espinoza Coachella Valley Boxing Gym. And I was being coached by Marcos Caballero at the time. And then in May of 2021, so about 7 months or 8 months later, I debuted as an amateur in Nicaragua. So from May 2021 to about July 2023, so 2 years, we had 25 fights, stayed really active, became a two-time national champion in the U.S. at 114 pounds. And I actually took part of the Central American and Caribbean Games in hopes to qualify for the Olympics for El Salvador. I got my dual citizenship and became Salvadorian citizen. So, and then after that, we didn't get the decision in that first fight, so we ended up to say, hey, let's go pro and go for that route.
Okay, you're very professional. That's my first observation because it's like you're coming into this sport and it's like, okay, I'm coming from the Wall Street Journal. I'm treating boxing with like this hard work ethic. I have a plan. Like normally boxers like, yeah, I just kind of did it, winged it. Like what I'm hearing is a lot of structure. Like you're bringing a lot of structure to boxing. And it sounds like that's the formula for success for you is that you build plans and find achievable dreams and goals.
Wow, thank you. I've never, I didn't think about it, or have, never did. Nobody has said that before, but yeah, I guess it started off like that, like winging it, right? Because I'm just like, I kind of like this, so I'm just gonna go for it. But I think to your point, right? Once I knew that I liked it, and I've always been a very competitive person. I competed competitively in soccer for about 15 years. And so when I loved it, I'm like, I might as well be training to compete. And that's where the idea for the amateurs happened. And once I got the bug, I was like, there's no going back. Let's just see how much further we can take this. But
What do you do with the Wall Street Journal?
so I actually help create and manage custom ads on our site. So those ads that pop up on the Wall Street Journal, I'm part of the team that creates them for clients. So we work with Amazon, BMW, all types of clients. But I'm in the advertising space at the WSJ.
Yeah, I get weird ads. They don't match my lifestyle that I'd like to think. But anyways, yeah, I think you got an interesting story just off of the rip because it's like you're this white collar successful person in basically a sport that's known for poverty and you're pretty friggin' dominant with not that much experience. I mean, I'm looking over Mega, he sent me show notes. You got something like 22-3 as an amateur. I'm probably off 1 or 2, or maybe I'm right. I'm going off the top of my head, but that's like the record of someone that is, I won't want to say natural, because there's nothing natural in life, and boxing's like golf. Like, neither are natural. Like, people, oh, he's a natural golfer. No, he worked really hard for you to say it's natural. But there's something about you that you want to win. Like, that's the mentality I see with you. You work at the Wall Street Journal. That's not an easy job to get. You have to be a winner to get there. You turn into an amateur boxer. You don't just want to be an amateur boxer. You want to be a winning amateur boxer. Can you speak to that part of your story? Because I think that's kind of interesting, is there's an undertone of like, you're a little bit of an alpha. You want to win.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's always kind of been my nature. I think in anything that I always say this, I say what I'm going to do and I do what I say. Right. And, I mean, if I have to kind of dig a little deeper, right, I think it started as I was young. My mom was a teenage mom. I honestly, a lot of the times, Meg and I, we kind of joke about this often, but this idea that I'm not even supposed to be here, right? And that's too, like, my mom was teenage mom, and I think, I mean, I wasn't really supposed to even be, like, alive, really, right? And then I just think she was a fighter in her own right, in her own world, and I think I never took it for granted, and be given that chance, right? I met this wonderful man who is my dad. He adopted me when I was 12, and always treated me as his own when I was even from 5 years old. So to me, it's always been like I've been giving a second chance to succeed in so many areas, but mainly within my own family unit. That I think I've always used that as motivation and fuel to just do my best in whatever I can, and yeah. So, and I think, as you mentioned, it might be, of course, translating in most of the areas of my life.
You hearing this, Dakota, bro? It's a movie. You hearing this, bro?
Got yourself an Ian Green movie right there.
We got ourselves a something, get the script out, And then I love this in the middle of the workday. All 15 of our usual viewers are probably in their office jobs, so they're gonna hit the rewatch on this one because they're in for a treat. Chocolatito, big name fighters. People always rub their hands together and want to hear about the people that meant a lot to them. He's one of my favorites because, first off, he's a gentleman. He conducts himself with so much dignity and class outside of the ring that it only makes sense that he's as great of a fighter he is by how he conducts himself as a man. Just share anything about being around him, whether it's sparring, whether it's just him walking in and being a person. People just want to know stuff about this amazing individual.
Awesome. I have quite a bit for you. Let me bring it back to how I even crossed paths with him. So, as I mentioned, Meg and I moved to Coachella from LA. The reason why was because Marcos Caballero, which is Chocolatito's trainer, he had reached out to Mega saying, "Hey, he's in camp. If you want to come and spar," and we're like, and he was like, "Of course, man. Like, that's my idol." So we ended up going to Coachella every weekend for 2 months and spending the weekend for him to spar him and for us to partake within the training camp. It was a lot of I'm going to use the word investment, right? But it was amazing. So that's our introduction to Choco. After those 2 months, I mean, we were like convinced. I mean, we need to move out here because this is where the boxing and the knowledge was. So that's why we ended up moving, and that was our introduction to Choco. Since from that point on, he did, I think, 2 or 3 more training camps, and by that time we were already living here. So we were taking part of all of it, and we just, you know how it is, we spend every single day, multiple times a day, and in the trenches of training, that we just got really close. But for me, I didn't even know who he was when I met him, because remember, I have no knowledge of boxing up to this point. And I get there and he's there. Now, not only do I learn about him, but I'm literally rubbing shoulders and learning side by side and training with him and learning from him. So for me, I fell in love with his style and everything, but also I was able to, he was attainable for me, right? He was next to me. So I think that also helps a lot to my progress and also my love for it. And yeah, so that's kind of the intro to that. And that's why he's my favorite fighter. And naturally, we have similar body types, right? Like the size and everything. So um, it's kind of natural for me to, I think, display a little bit of like some type of influence from his style. But I just study him so much, even now. But yeah, it's that's kind of where that's from. But as a person, I mean, he's very conservative and quiet. But once you get to know him a little bit more, he is such a jokester, so humble, so family oriented, and has the biggest heart, um, honestly. And we've been fortunate enough to go to Nicaragua and really vacation and get to know him on a more personal level, out there. So at this point, we would definitely say we are family. Really, really wonderful guy.
Okay, two half-assed observations to ruin a good story. My friend Bruno Escalante sparred Chocolatito for, I can't remember, maybe it was the Gal Yafai fight or Cal Yafai, one of the Yafai brothers, I forget which variation. And he came home with this tennis ball contraption that he still has at his gym, where it's just these strings with tennis balls, and it was what Chocolatito did to shadow box with. And it was like this piece of pride that he got to come home with the shadow box contraption, which I'm sure he probably seen something like it. And then for you being around it, it reminds me of a skateboarder named Terry Kennedy, who's had a sad recent. Within 9 months, he basically became a pro skateboarder, essentially, because he was around all the famous skateboarders. And it feels like your progress, you're training around a Hall of Fame boxer. So most people don't normalize greatness. You normalize the greatness of the sport being around a Hall of Fame boxer, whereas people were just trying to figure out, what do I do? You learned how to train basically with the best.
Yes, I agree with that.
And that's like the sign of a calling, that you just kind of stumble into an all timer.
Well, that's my thing. I say I can't make this up. I can't plan for this. Like the thing is that I sit back and I say, okay, without forcing it or anything, it happens. So it's just another sign, and like, sign from God for me to say, hey, you're on the right path. I don't know where, but it's the right it's the right path. So that's all I'm taking, and I'm running with it.
Tell us about Mega, trainer, fiance, wears a lot of hats, set up the
Oh,
interview too. Like the interview wouldn't happen if he didn't set it up. Just came out of nowhere. People are asking me for tickets, all types of stuff. He threw it in there. I'm losing my mind. So just kind of explain that one.
so yeah, I mean, he wears many hats, and he is pretty damn good at it too. He is a pro fighter himself. He hasn't been as active as he's wanted to be, because he's really dedicated his life and his efforts to me and getting my career up and going. We met, as I mentioned, in San Fernando, 818 Boxing. He was coaching me there at the time, also fighting. But I mean, he's always had so much love for the sport. I believe he was 14 when he started, but didn't become a pro until, I want to say, 25, I believe. I should know this. But he's been in boxing and Muay Thai. He started off as a Muay Thai fighter, actually. That's a fun fact. Had, I think, 10 fights. And then, yeah, we met there, we trained, and ever since we've been inseparable. He, as you mentioned, he is training me, and he manages me, and he cooks for me, and he loves me with his whole heart and does everything. So he is very special. And yeah, he's a kick-ass person as well. If you know him, he's a ball of energy, lots of, great sense of humor, but also he knows his stuff, and he is such a dedicated family person and man, and I'm grateful to have him by my side.
That's great. What do you want from the sport of boxing?
Hmm. I've already gotten so much. I honestly, to me, the biggest thing that I've gotten, I think that's what I really want from it as I continue on this journey, is the relationships that I've made, with people, crossing paths with people I would have never crossed paths from and learned from. I think for me, that's pretty key. I want to keep learning. I want to keep discovering myself and seeing how much I can attain and what my potential is. Really, obviously, I want that, world champion title at some point, whenever it's my time and God wills it. But for me, it's all about the journey and the people that are on this with me. And I want the best for everyone around me as well. So if we can all win, that's the goal.
How long do you see a pro career lasting?
We've spoken about this, and I think we're gonna give ourselves 5 years.
Okay, I was one off. Normally, really successful people work in 4-year cycles, college and Olympic runs. I thought it was going to be 4. You said 5.
Yeah, I said 5. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I got one more. How fast do you want to move in your career? Are we talking title shot in 4 fights, 6 fights, 25 fights, 1,000,000 fights? How fast?
For me, I want activity. If I can fight every other month, every 2 months, that's what I want. I want to change the rounds. That's been our motto in the amateurs, and that's kind of like the same mentality for the pros. As long as I'm healthy, right, physically healthy and everything, and we can get the right fights that make sense. Obviously, I have my team to make those decisions. That's what I'm focused on. So whenever they think it's time and I have the opportunity for that world title shot, then it will be then. I'm not really focused on a number. I'm not going to sit here and say by 5 I want to be. No, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
The chat's loving your setup, the background. They're loving the belt setup. So I just wanted to give you props on that. Do you see yourself signing with a major promoter, or do you see just having to take the opportunities as they come?
Both. Right now I'm in a position where we will be receiving an offer. So, not gonna, it has to make sense. And so, yeah, we're going to look at the offer. I think it's going to be a great one. So I can see it happening. But again, it has to make sense and it has to be right for me. So.
Well, you're very marketable. You're able to speak. You're actually a great public speaker. And the big problem is some boxers are marketable. Some boxers are terrible public speakers. So, it's a no-brainer. You just got to knock out. You can stand in front of a podium and put sentences together in compelling ways. And you're in a division that kind of needs some interesting characters. Like we got Gabriel Fendora. She's emerging, similar area. We've got Marlon Esparza, but we're really looking for new female voices, female stars. And it really seems like a no-brainer that someone would pick you up because it's such an interesting story.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm flattered. Thank you.
Well, I'm just a guy on YouTube talking. Every now and then I write, so don't be that flattered. Temper the expectation there. But
love it.
Yeah, we got set realistic standards here. It's not like you're getting, it's not like the Wall Street Journal told you that. But when would she move to England? Why? Bro, I love you in the chat, but where does that one come from? It's just a weird one. I get it, England, there's a lot of money and stuff, but it's let me ask you, no disrespect to my guy, Man K Crazy, big supporter. We love you. Please keep tuning in and be sure to hit the thumbs up button. But England's lovely. Would you move to England?
Again, I would be open to it if it made sense, one of our dreams, Meg and I dreams, is to be able to travel the world and fight. So if that's where it takes us, we're going to London, we're going to England, we're going wherever.
Okay. We have a good community. They have at least one women's fight per card is what I mean. So he was basically saying, when you look at, I'm going to interpret for him. I'm going to translate for him because I think I know what
Michaela. It's like Michaela, right?
Exactly. Caroline Dubois is getting big opportunities. Lauren Price is getting big. Every time you see women's boxers or women's prospects, because of Katie Taylor, if we're being honest, Katie changed the game where people are watching in Europe and they're like, we need to respect the women's fighters. And if we're being honest, we haven't quite had the Katie Taylor figure in the U.S. boxing scene that's changed the view of the sport. I guess that was terrible because that just left everyone saying nothing.
No,
But
no, you said it all. That's why we didn't have to say anything.
it's
Yeah.
like interview 101. It's like ask a question and the interviewee just sits there.
I think
They're
that
always-
it makes sense to some extent because like Michaela, I don't think ever really got her flowers here in the States and then started taking these opportunities in the UK. And I think they kind of have adopted her and she could main event a card there anytime she wants at this point. So I think there is something to like, you know, as a female fighter, you can kind of jump the line out there a little bit.
Well, and we're strategic, right? Like you look at where Brook fights. There's people like Yokovaye. There's fighters like Sinise Estrada. There's a lot of really interesting fighters that are dangling around her weight class, and one of these fighters could be that fighter. I'm going to tell you what it's going to take for women's box to catch on. It's going to take an attractive girl that knocks people out. It's going to be the Ronda Rousey effect. So when you get someone that people are attracted to, or they think it's a model and they're knocking people out, that's going to be the ESPN Sports Center. We need to see this. This is weird, but that's the formula.
Yeah. Well,
do you like that one?
I'm here for that.
Are you the one that's gonna take that role?
God wills it. That's me. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Dakota, I'm out of my questions. I know it's a work day for you, Brooke. Dakota, do you have any other questions?
How do you manage two jobs like that? Are you still doing your advertising?
I am. I'm full time. I have an amazing team that supports my dream 100%. But so the great thing about it is that we are a global company, right? And so our clients are East Coast, all of Europe, everywhere. So I actually work throughout the day. You know, I'll wake up 4 a.m. I'll handle from 4 to 6. I usually do my morning kind of emails and assignments that I have to do. That way the East Coast get it right when they're, logging on. I do my runs, come back again, get in there. And then by 2, I do my training. And then afterwards I'll come back and do what I need to do. So it's manageable. It's all about time management and prioritizing things. But I have a amazing team that helps with me with that for me. So yeah.
Where in New York did you start doing fitness boxing?
I did Rumble Boxing, and then I did Shadow. I believe it is called Shadow Boxing. There's another studio, but it was Rumble where I started.
Does Edgar Santana still work there? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Never mind. I figured I would ask though where
Okay.
exactly it was.
He's a New Yorker, so please forgive him. New Yorkers can't help but bring up New York.
No, I love New York. New York and New Jersey have a very special place in my heart because that's where I went to college and then obviously started my my young adult life out there. So I can't wait to fight in New York one day. All my family, my best friends are out there, and so yeah.
March 16th, there is a fight card out there, so maybe God willing, one of these days you can get it MSG,
Oh, that would be a dream. That'd be dope. Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Do you got any merch for sale or something? Can we sell something of yours before we get you off? Do you have anything that you're promoting?
Yeah, I mean, I have my fight shirts for this last fight. They're black and they say big stamp in the front, Mighty Brook, Coachella Valley, California, and then Team Sibrian on the back. We have quite a few of those. The original, the shirts from the first fight, we have just a few, but not very many sizes. So right now it's just my latest fight shirt available.
Okay, well, I think we've run the gamut of our questions and stuff and taken up your day. Now we're gonna do what we were supposed to do on Sunday, which is hate on boxers for about an hour roughly. So we're just gonna criticize boxers. So we appreciate your time. Now we're gonna get back to our regularly scheduled program of hating on people. So and shout out, give us the social media and all that.
Yes, please. Instagram, Brook Sibrian. And if you follow me, you have to follow Mega at Mega Soto.
And shout out Mega for setting this up because because Mega reached out to me, I actually watched your fight intently because there was a chance I was going to make myself a pizza in the oven, because that could have been the swing bout where I don't have to do coverage and just go, okay, I'm just going to see what the result is and I'm going to make food. Didn't do it because he reached out and I'm like, I'm going to watch this fight because we're going to interview you. So
the pizza came after.
The pizza came. I can't even tell you what fight the pizza came at because I didn't watch the fight. Like, if I'm looking at the results, I could tell you. I don't want to say the name of the fighter because then they'll get all mad and try to fight me, and then it's awkward because then I have to cry and stuff. But yeah, so that's a fun story. So shout out to Mega for that.
I'll let him know. Thank you so much for answering and being willing, to do this and scheduling me in your busy day as well. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we wish you the best. We hope you get what you're looking for in boxing. And yeah, I just hope you find what you're looking for. We got Angelo Leo questions coming in, so that doesn't pertain to you. Yeah, just thank you for being a wonderful guest. And anytime, just reach out or anything, and we're typically here.
Perfect. Yep. Well, I mean, Mega will do his job and letting you know the next one, and then yeah, let us know if you need anything. We're here to help as well.
Right on. Okay. Well, you don't have to stay on. Me and Dakota are just going to talk about Jaime Munguia and just hate on Connor Ben. So we wish you the best, and yeah, have a great rest of your week.
You too. Bye.
Take it easy, bro.
Okay, what a wonderful guest. Now let's get into your hating on Ken Shiro because we missed it. So let's just start with it, okay?
Bro, I hate when you come in hot like that, bro, because I'm not a hater.